Well, first of all, sir, Happy New Year. First time I've had the opportunity to talk to you.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
First of all, sir, of course, Venezuela is a big thing in the news. After everything that's happened over the last week or so, which direction do you think the U.S. should go in its role in and concerning Venezuela?
Well, first of all, it was a remarkable operation that was well planned and well conceived and well executed. And I want to thank the men and women of the military for their great work to extract Maduro without losing one American life and without losing a helicopter or any U.S. asset is frankly quite amazing. I think that in the early stages of this, the aftermath is going as well as it can. I had a secure briefing from the administration yesterday with a lot of details about it. I can tell you I'm impressed with the direction that it's headed. Here's how I see things unfolding is that once you go in and you remove an illegitimate dictator, chaos can result. In this case, the administration did a smart thing by working with existing leadership on the ground to create some stability. We need to do that first of all. We don't need political instability. Then we need to create the with that stability a pathway forward economically for Venezuela. Venezuela is near default. Venezuela is a nation that is in very precarious economic circumstances. The United States is going to help sell the oil that Venezuela has for the benefit of Venezuelans, put it out on the open market, help to restore the economic stability of that nation, and then prepare it for democracy. That's the direction we're headed. That's the direction it should go.
What about the idea of the United States running Venezuela? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that it has to be a collaboration at the moment because you can't, what you don't want to have happen is for it to go back to this lawless regime that was led under Nicolas Maduro. So the United States needs to have this involvement. We're doing it through economic levers right now. There's a quarantine on the oil that's coming out of Venezuela. That's their primary source of revenue. Uh, America is going to help sell that oil on the open market and make sure that the money that comes out of it isn't going to fund lawless regimes and drug traffickers. It's going to the Venezuelan people and institutions to restore economic stability. And once that economic stability is restored, then you can have democratic elections. Understand, Venezuelans from around the world who've been chased out of the country by Maduro love what America is doing here. They're supportive of what America is doing here. It's a very complicated mission, but ultimately, I believe that we will have, instead of an adversary in Venezuela, that we will have a democratic society and an ally in our hemisphere that can really help shift the direction of power away from China and Russia and more towards democratic values in the Western Hemisphere. That's a very important goal that we should have, something that I believe that we can accomplish.
Do you anticipate U.S. troops being on the ground in the country?
I do not anticipate U.S. troops being on the ground. If that were to happen, that we would need to have some type of congressional authorization to have it happen. Right now, it's being done through diplomatic channels, and that's the way it should be accomplished. But the other thing that I haven't mentioned is that Venezuela was a big part of narco terrorism, the drug trade. A lot of those drugs were coming to the United States. This is a good day for America in the sense that a lot of the drugs have been plaguing our nation. That supply chain is going to dry up.
Another big issue in foreign policy that's come up, of course, is about Greenland. Where do you stand on that? Do you support the idea of the United States kind of taking over Greenland?
Well, interestingly, I had a chance to talk with the Prime Minister of Denmark and officials from Greenland this past year. They recognize that there are mutual security interests that America, Greenland, and Denmark have in the Arctic. They are more than willing to work with America on a diplomatic solution to those issues. I am heartened to hear that Marco Rubio is going to be meeting with the ambassador from Denmark on these issues. We should choose a diplomatic path. We should tone down the rhetoric about military paths. There's no reason to do that. We can get this done diplomatically. And there are interests that America has in Greenland because Russia and China are playing a bigger security role in the North, in the Arctic. That does threaten America and our allies. And so we should work cooperatively with Denmark and Greenland to resolve these issues.
Yeah, one of the big things as you talk about that with the allies is the implications for NATO, depending on how the United States moves forward with it. How, sensitive is that?
I think that the United States will support NATO. NATO will support the United States. This has been a tough patch in the last couple of days with some exchange of words, but I believe it's heading in the right direction. Look, Greenland has a strategic location that is important. They have access to rare earth minerals that are important. All of these things, though, need to be resolved at the diplomatic level, and the United States may want to make investments there. They may want to have military bases there. We need to do that in cooperation with the people of Greenland.
As we see what's unfolding in Minneapolis over the last couple of days, do you support continued ICE actions in cities around the country?
So when ICE is a legitimate part of the U.S. enforcement of our laws, when people are in this country illegally committing crimes, the president has made it clear that they need to follow the laws, and ICE will enforce those laws. Mayors or governors don't get to decide where ICE operates. And ICE operations have led to the arrest and deportation of criminals who are guilty of drug trafficking, of child pornography, pedophilia, rape, murder. We're getting some of the worst people out of our country, and you're seeing the results of that because murder rates are going down. Communities are safer, but these are not. I know some of the ICE appearances are not welcome in some cities, but look, you got to follow the rule of law in this country. You can't have protecting people who are killers and rapists in this country. If they're here illegally, they need to go. And ICE operations are a legitimate part of federal law enforcement. And it's a tragedy, though, about what happened in Minneapolis yesterday. People should not try to interrupt ICE operations. That is obstructing justice. It is illegal, and unfortunately, tragedies can occur.
People do have the First Amendment right to protest. So, how do you
They do,
balance?
but they cannot. But they cannot obstruct ICE operations.
I get that, but how do you balance, a federal program like ICE carrying out law enforcement actions while maintaining public calm uh, during protests?
Well, people should stop inciting these protests. It's okay to have your voices heard, but you can't obstruct an ICE operation. I may not like something that's going on, and I have the right, and everybody in this country has the right to have their voice heard. And you can, you know, you can object to them as much as you want, but you can't inject yourself into stopping an ICE operation from occurring. That is against the law. And we have to respect the rule of law. I mean, this is my bottom line on it all. Just follow the rule of law, enforce the rule of law, obey the rule of law. If we all do that, then it'll be just fine. But when you have 15 million people come into this country, many of them illegally, over the past few years, and you have rapes, murders, child pornography, all of these kinds of things occurring from some of these individuals that are in this country, then you got to have law enforcement in there to extract them, to get them out of our country. And people cannot obstruct that. I don't know why people would want to obstruct a legitimate law enforcement activity when it involves people who are illegally in this country committing crimes.
The Affordable Care Act tax credits, of course, are news this week as the chambers come back into session. The House is working on it. What do you anticipate happening? Do you see the ACA credits being extended and then working further on healthcare issues?
So let's just do a reset here. Obamacare has failed. It is very expensive, and people have a limited number of choices. We've seen consolidations, and so American healthcare consumers are in a pinch right now. And I've talked to many of them who are seeing their premiums go up. And I have sponsored legislation that would extend the tax care premiums for 2 years to help reduce the cost for insurance for people who are stuck in these Obamacare exchanges. But we need to do a couple of things. First of all, there's rampant fraud. The money's been going directly to the insurance companies, not to the consumers, and and people are getting signed up without their knowledge to the tune of $20 billion plus in fraud over the previous 4 years. So we got to stop that. We also need to cap it so that we're not having minimum wage workers pay to subsidize the insurance premiums of millionaires. So here's how we do that. My proposal extends it for 2 years, requires everybody to pay at least $5 a month for their premiums so that we don't have fraud of people getting illegally signed up, capping it at 700% of poverty so we're not subsidizing the premiums of millionaires, and then protecting to make sure that public funds are not being used to pay for abortions, which is a long-standing principle in this country. If we have bipartisan support for that, but I'm not sure we have enough votes yet. So I'm going to be pushing over the coming weeks to try to get that done because Obamacare doesn't work. The premiums are a way to help, but healthcare costs are out of line. They're the number one driver of inflation in the 21st century. I didn't create this problem. I'm new here, but I'm trying to fix it.
You just introduced the Upward Mobility Act, and in it you wrote, Americans trapped behind a benefits cliff are disincentivized from pursuing higher paying jobs. Can you explain what your bill would do to change that?
Yeah, this working on this issue is one of the reasons I took the appointment to the U.S. Senate because I see people just getting trapped in poverty. If you're a single mom with 2 kids, you have food assistance, childcare assistance, housing assistance. You may work 20 hours a week making $17 an hour, but if you work 21 hours a week, you lose all of that assistance. Literally, you fall off what we call the benefit cliff. And so what happens is that people don't work. They get trapped in poverty. They can't ever get a raise or a promotion because they lose more in benefits than they gain in new salary. And so I'm trying to end that by creating a pilot program at the state level, creating a uniform funding stream that will allow people to earn more money, to work more hours, and then gradually see their benefits decline as they earn more so that it actually pays them to go to work. I'm going to be clear about this. This is the most important thing that we can do to help low-income families earn more and make life more affordable. It's going to help them get ahead. There's something in this for everybody. If you care about the plight of people in poverty, you should be for this. If you're an employer who wants to have more people work to pool from, to come work at your company, you should be for this because you talk to anybody who's in the service sector industry, logistics, manufacturing, employers will tell you they have people that work for them who will not work more hours because they lose more in benefits than they gain in pay. They will tell you that they want to give people raises, but people won't take the raises because they lose more in benefits than they get in pay. We created a trap in this country over the course of the last 50 years where people literally don't go to work because they lose money. I'm trying to fix all that. I'm going to give you one more example that I found when I was lieutenant governor that I found even more insidious. I was at a career center and I heard a principal tell me, they said, hey, we got a lot of high school students that want to go to work and get apprenticeships, but they can't do it because their brother or sister loses their food benefits if their older brother or sister goes to work. I said, are you serious, really? And they're like, yes. This is literally part of that trap. Because family income, we tell people, right, we want them to get jobs in high school and then go to work when they're 18. We literally don't even let them get job experience because we cut off the benefits to their family if they do it. I'm trying to fix all that. The Upward Mobility Act will solve all of those problems if we can just get it passed.
I know you've always been a big big priority of yours has always been kind of the workforce development and working on those issues as well.
Yeah.
Not
It
so much
just
time.
can
Go
I
ahead.
just add a couple things because I'm so passionate about this. If we could just get 10% of the people enrolled in the program to eliminate the benefit cliff, it would be essentially like adding 1.5 million people to the American workforce because people working more hours. It is literally one of the most insidious pieces of public policy we have where we trap people in poverty. This bill would end it.
Senator, finally, we're almost to the 1 year anniversary of you being appointed to the Senate. I guess as you look back, how do you assess your first year in the U.S. Senate?
Well, it was rather chaotic, to be honest. When I got to the U.S. Senate, I didn't have an office, a phone number, a staff person, anything. I just got kind of dropped in here out of nowhere. So I had to build a whole new team and a whole new operation. But I quickly used the experience I had working in state government to try to fight for things that matter to the people of Ohio. I've really been focused on workforce and families and helping people earn more and have a higher quality of life and live their version of the American dream. That's what I've been focused on. Ohio issues, things that I know matter to people, and even though Washington is not like Columbus, it's not like working in the state house. I know Ohio very well, and I just consider it an honor to serve and to fight for Ohio families in D.C.
What's next in the pipeline for you?
I want to get this Upward Mobility Act done. I really do, because it is a trap. It is a poverty trap. It is costing it is soul crushing to people when they think, hey, I gotta stay on government benefits because I can't get a job that pays more because I'm just trapped here. And I want to get that accomplished. I want to get that done. I want to help people have a pathway out of poverty and into independence and the middle class. And I know that like it's hard to get things done in Washington, and I'm going to dig in on this one and fight for it because I know it matters to working people. The lowest income earners in the state have a way out if we get this done.
Senator, thank you for your time today. I do appreciate it.